Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Resolved, as team negators say, that Rwanda is an international problem, that DRC is an international problem, not Rwanda's problem, we shall go with that and take their parameters. So, first and foremost are dear judges, for all the damages Rwanda has caused in DRC and for the military support Rwanda has provided and still providing to the M23 rebel groups in Eastern Congo, we as team farmers say that Rwanda should indeed be sanctioned for our role. Panel, we all know Rwanda's relationship with other member states of the East African community. Most of Rwanda's relationship with Uganda. Rwanda has been having conflicts with Uganda for a very long time, which led to the closure of the borders. And for this, we can't let Rwanda go away with all the problems and all the destruction she has been causing in the East Africa. So for this, we need to sanction Rwanda as soon as possible to avoid the outcomes that may come out of always letting Rwanda go away with all she does. We as team farmers know that the negators might come up and tell us that instead of sanctioning Rwanda, pardon me please, team negators has not given us an alternative. So if we shouldn't sanction Rwanda, what should we do? For this I say, team negators is going to tell us that we should use peace talks. But we all know that peace talks take a lot of time, and we are talking about a matter of life here. We are talking about people's lives at risk, the DRC members. So if we are to wait for the peace talks, we are going to have people dying, and what we don't want is the people dying. So we should take action. We as the East African community, we suggest Rwanda should be sanctioned as soon as possible. So, our dear judges, we are also much aware that the negators are going to tell us that instead of sanctioning Rwanda, maybe we can make them pay fines. But panel, as we all know, after Uganda's military intervention inside Congo in 1996 and again in 1998, claiming Uganda was defending herself against the local military groups, the ICC ordered Uganda to pay a fine of $325 million, but on the 13th September 2022. But Uganda only paid $65 million. So if you tell us to tell Rwanda to pay the same, like we give the same punishment to Rwanda, can it really work? Uganda has failed to comply to that punishment. So will Rwanda really do that? And the positive effects of sanctioning, it's going to humble Rwanda. Like Rwanda is going to calm down and learn a lesson. Besides that, the peace talks and the fines is not going to work, because from the sources of Al Jazeera on 6th July 2021 state that DRC met with Rwanda in Rwanda working out peace talks, but even after the peace talks, I therefore conclude by saying Rwanda should indeed be sanctioned for our role in the conflicts in DRC. Thank you.
This House, as the East African community, will sanction Rwanda for its role in the ongoing DRC conflicts. The second, AFAMA said that we didn't give an alternative on the sanctioning part. But we as negators are saying that we are taking a neutralizing force which is already there, and the M23 is breaking out. What to do? You mean it's going to take long? I don't get what you're saying. So as negators, we are saying we should not sanction. And why are we not sanctioning? East African Court of Justice does not have a right to do so, because the conflict between Rwanda and DRC falls in the category of international armed conflict. Therefore, it should be judged by ICC, and EAC cannot handle it. You've just given us an example of Uganda given a punishment of paying a fine by the ICC. You say that the sanctioning will help in human rights development, but have you checked that the sanctions can degenerate human rights in the target country. Have you considered Rwanda in this situation? And sanctions contribute to disruptions in global supply chains, higher global commodity and prices. We are saying that as our house, we are using the United Nations Human Rights Commission and the ICC. And why is that? Because EAC cannot handle that. Alternatives, what are we giving you to do? We are not going to actually use Rwanda to pay fines. We are not saying that, no. The EAC needs to increase diplomatic efforts to promote dialogue and find common ground between the two countries involved, and that is Rwanda and DRC. The East African community should appoint a special envoy to mediate the talks and ensure both sides are heard and their concerns are addressed. The East African community should provide resources to make the dialogue process a success. And how are we going to do that?
Information, Honorable Speaker.
The EAC denied. The EAC should support initiatives to promote economic development. The EAC should also strengthen security institutions and address human rights concerns instead of sanctioning Rwanda. The EAC should take proactive measures to prevent the conflict from spreading. And how are we going to do that? We're actually already doing that. Deploying a peacemaking force or establishing a buffer zone along the DRC border. The EAC should work closely with the AU, that is the African Union, and the United Nations to ensure coordinated and effective responses to the situation. We were saying that we are going to use the less or harsh. The less harsh means like peace agreements, using a neutral force. And by the way, why is Rwanda being the only one being sanctioned, and yet DRC has a hand on the ongoing conflicts? And has Rwanda ever been warned before?
This is the High School Crossfire. We'll be back in a minute.